Okay, so this thing? Most people walking past my patio have no idea what it even is. It's not a tomato, it's not a pepper. It looks like a tiny watermelon, but it's the size of a grape, and it grows in a bucket I had sitting in my garage for years. I planted 3 seeds as a joke, not gonna lie. Figured they'd die in a week. By August, I had hundreds of them off 3 plants in containers. And that's just one of 15. Most of these you've probably never even heard of. So here's the thing nobody really explains, right? Most best container vegetables videos give you the same 5 plants: tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, stuff you already know. This isn't that list. These are crops that are genuinely hard to find at a grocery store. Some of them you basically can't buy anywhere, and almost every one of them does better in a pot than it would crammed into a regular garden bed. Tighter roots, faster draining soil, warmer soil temps because the container heats up in the sun. A lot of these plants actually want that. And honestly, figuring out which ones took me a couple of bad seasons. I killed stuff, overcrowded pots that should have had 1 plant and shoved in 3, lost a tray of seedlings to a heat wave because I didn't think a black plastic pot could basically cook from the inside. So some of this list is trial and error I'm handing you for free. We're counting down from 15. Number 1 completely changed how I think about what a vegetable even is. If you're new here, I just mess around in my backyard testing weird stuff. Sub's free if you want more of it. Number 15, watermelon radish. Looks completely boring from the outside. Dull, green, white skin, kind of dirty looking, honestly. Cut it open, though. It's this shocking hot pink, almost magenta color on the inside. Looks fake, like someone dyed it. In a shallow container with loose sifted soil, these size up clean and round. No forking, no splitting, because there's nothing in the soil for the root to fight against. In real ground with any clay or rocks, they twist up weird. I serve slices of this at dinner sometimes just to watch people's faces when I cut into it. It works every time. Number 14, Egyptian walking onions. This one's just weird, in a good way. Instead of growing a bulb underground like a normal onion, this plant grows little clusters of bulbs at the top of the stalk. The stalk gets top-heavy, flops over, and the bulbs root themselves somewhere new. It actually walks across the container over a couple seasons. I didn't believe this when I first read it, thought it was an internet myth. Then I watched it happen in my own pot. The stalk leaned, flopped into the soil, and 3 weeks later there were shoots 6 inches from where I planted the original. It's perennial, too. Same plant, multiple years, just slowly walking its way across whatever container you give it. Number 13, Malabar spinach. Not actually spinach, doesn't matter. Tastes close enough. And it does something regular spinach absolutely cannot do. It survives summer heat. Real spinach bolts and turns bitter the second temperatures climb. This stuff is a vine, thick, glossy, almost succulent-looking leaves, and it gets more productive as it gets hotter. In a container with a trellis, it climbs 6-7 feet over a season. I had 1 plant cover an entire section of fence. The stems are reddish-purple on some varieties, which looks almost ornamental against the dark green leaves. People think it's decorative until I tell them to go pick a handful and toss it in a stir-fry. Number 12, oca, also called the New Zealand yam, even though it's from South America. This one took forever to find seed stock for. Most nurseries have never heard of it. It grows like a regular leafy plant all summer, and then in fall starts forming knobby little tubers right at the soil surface, red, pink, yellow, depending on variety. Raw, they taste lemony, almost like a tart water chestnut. Cooked, soft and starchy, like a lemony potato. The leaves are eatable too, similar to wood sorrel, same tangy bite. In a deep container, you can dump the whole thing out at the end of the season and sift through the soil with your hands, looking for tubers. Feels like digging for buried treasure that happens to be edible.
Number 11, yard-long beans. The name's barely an exaggeration. These get long, 18, 24 inches, sometimes more. In a container with a tall trellis, the vines climb fast and the pods hang down in long, dramatic ropes. Looks ridiculous the first time you see it. Forgot to check mine for 4 days during peak season once and came back to pods gone from snack size to genuinely absurd. Tasted like rubber bands when I let them go too tough. Lesson learned. Gotta pick these almost daily once they start. They want more heat than regular green beans, which makes a sun-baked container ideal. Number 10. Purple dragon carrots. Deep purple skin, almost black in low light, with bright orange flesh underneath once you slice into them. Same logic as regular carrots. Container soil with no rocks or clay means straight, clean roots every time instead of forked, twisted ones. But the color is the part that gets people. I brought a bag of these to a cookout once, and someone genuinely asked if I dyed them. No, that's just what they look like. The depth matters here too. You want at least a foot of soil depth for full-size roots. Skinny pot, you get stubby little purple thumbs instead of the real thing. Number 9. Achocha, also called fat babies, which once you see the fruit makes total sense. Small green pods covered with soft little spikes shaped like a stuffed dumpling, harmless to touch despite looking spiky. The plant's a vine, distantly related to cucumbers, and it's aggressive. Give it a trellis or it'll cover whatever's nearby. I let mine go for 1 season and it basically ate a section of fence. Flavor's a strange cross between cucumber and green bell pepper. Didn't know what to do with the first batch. Ended up stir-frying them like a pepper substitute. Worked better than expected. With strong vertical support, this thing produces constantly from midsummer until frost. Number 8. Tiger nuts. Not actually a nut, a grass that grows little sweet tubers underground, similar to peanuts. Tastes like a mix of almond and coconut. These want warmth and sun, and a container's easier than ground soil because you're not digging through a huge bed to find dozens of little tubers, you just dump the pot. I grew these out of curiosity, didn't expect much. Then I tipped the container over at the end of the season, and way more little tubers than I expected from what looked like plain grass all summer. Snacked on a handful straight out of the dirt before I even washed them. Not my proudest moment, worth it though. Number 7. Burr gherkins. Small, oval, fuzzy-looking little fruits that taste like a sharp, cucumbery pickle even before you pickle them. The vine is aggressive and wants something to climb. Same family as cucumbers, same general container needs, deep pot, consistent water, full sun. What gets me every time is how many of these one plant throws off. I had 2 vines in a single large container and couldn't keep up with picking them at peak season. Ended up pickling a full jar just to keep them from going to waste. Turned out better than the actual cucumbers I grew that same year, if I'm honest. Number 6. Chinese 5-color pepper. This is the one I grow just because it's genuinely beautiful, and then I remember, oh right, I can also eat this. The peppers go through 5 actual color changes as they ripen. Purple, then cream, then yellow, then orange, then finally red. All on the same plant at the same time in every stage at once by midsummer. Looks like a Christmas tree covered in ornaments. Container grown, dark pot, full sun. Peppers love that warm root zone, and this variety especially rewards it with heavier color and more fruit per plant than I expected. I've had people assume it's a fake decorative plant from a garden center. It's very real, and it's spicy.
Number 5. Fish pepper. Old heirloom variety, used to season seafood generations ago, nearly disappeared before someone tracked down the last seeds. What makes it wild is the leaves, not just the fruit. The leaves are variegated, green and white, almost like someone splattered paint on them. The peppers start out striped, green and white too, then shift to orange, then red. Grew this one in a container on a whim because the leaves looked interesting in a seed catalog photo. Didn't even realize it was a pepper plant at first glance. Medium heat, good in sauces, and compact enough that a single 5-gallon pot handled it just fine. Number 4. Tromboncino squash. This thing grows long, curved, and ridiculous looking, like a pale green trombone, hence the name. Some get over 2 feet long if you let them go. It's technically a vine, and if you give it a trellis in a container, it climbs instead of sprawling across your whole yard like a regular zucchini would.
The fruit hangs down off the trellis in this curved shape that looks almost intentional, like garden decor. Texture-wise, it's denser than zucchini, holds up better in cooking, doesn't turn to mush as fast. I had one vine take over an entire section of fence and produce these long, curling squash hanging at eye level. Genuinely strange thing to walk past every morning. Neighbors definitely had questions. Number 3. Purple fingerling potatoes. Same general trick as regular potatoes, hilling them up in a tall container, adding soil or straw as the plant grows so more of the stem gets buried, which means more tubers form along that buried stem. Except when you dump the container at the end of the season, instead of regular tan potatoes, you get these deep purple, almost knobby little fingerling shapes. The color holds when you cook them too. Not just the skin, the actual flesh inside is purple. Looks bizarre in a dish until people taste it and realize it's just potato. I used a tall repurposed bin with drainage holes in the bottom, tipped it over at harvest time, and it looked like I dug up a chest of dark little jewels instead of dinner. Number 2, and this is the plant from the very beginning of the video. Cucamelon, mouse melon, whatever you want to call it. Tiny fruits look exactly like miniature watermelons, taste like a cucumber with a hint of lime. One plant on a trellis in a single container can produce 100 or more of these over a season. They climb fast, they don't need much babying, and they're nearly impossible to find fresh anywhere outside a farmer's market. I planted 3 seeds, expecting maybe a handful of fruit total. By the end of summer, I was popping these things straight off the vine like candy, handfuls at a time, more than I could realistically eat or give away. This is the plant that made me start questioning what other rare vegetables I'd been ignoring my whole life. Number 1. Purple sweet potato. Not the orange kind you're picturing. Deep violet flesh, almost the color of grape juice, under skin that's nearly black. And just like regular sweet potatoes, you get 2 harvests off the same plant. The vine leaves, edible, cook them like spinach, most people have no idea. And then, underground, slowly, all season long, the actual potatoes form. I grew these in repurposed tanks one year, stacked along the back fence. By late summer, the vines had completely covered the tops, a thick green carpet you'd never guess was hiding anything. When I finally dug in, it wasn't a couple stray potatoes, handfuls per plant, every one this deep, almost unreal purple color when I sliced into it. That's the one that did it for me, made this whole rare vegetable thing stop feeling like a quirky hobby and start feeling like an actual food source, hiding in containers nobody bothers to look twice at.
So back to that tiny watermelon-looking thing from the start. It wasn't some weird fluke. None of these were. Every plant on this list shares the same setup. Warmer soil, tighter root zones, better drainage, no competition from weeds or nearby roots, and for crops most people have never grown or even seen, that combination turns a random bucket into a hidden food source. Not every rare vegetable wants this. Some genuinely need open ground and room to roam. But these 15 aren't just surviving in containers. They're thriving in a way the common stuff in your grocery store never will, because half of them never make it to a grocery store in the first place. And the wild part is, I almost didn't try any of it. Figured rare vegetables were a niche thing for serious growers with greenhouses, not something you do in a 5-gallon bucket. Took one stupidly productive vine to make me rethink that. If you've actually grown any of these, let me know which one surprised you the most. And if you want to see the watering system I build to keep all these going without standing there with a hose every day, that's a whole different story. Coming next.